Hello, I'm Coach Sandra.
Founder of Life Coach for Ladies. I'm here today to demonstrate to you 7 simple choices can transform your life. How can you go from where you are today in the present to where you want to be tomorrow in the future? But before we talk about the present or the future, let's talk about the past. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And in Genesis 1:3, God said, "Let there be light." An accurate translation would be God commanded, light exist. God is speaking into the dark, deep void and commanding light to come into being. And there was light. Into the darkness, God spoke light into being. And that same God, the one who created everything, can still speak light into the darkest places of your life today. Over the next 5 days, God called everything into existence. And then on day 6, God said, "Let us make man in our image." But now he did not command man into existence. Genesis 2:7 tells us God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Can you feel the wonder of that? I believe that at that moment, as Adam came into being, he took his first breath and opened his eyes. He saw into the face of his creator. And at that moment, I can't even imagine the feeling of love that he felt. God is love. God created man to love and to be loved. Adam had to, at that moment, he had to have felt complete love and safety. God created the garden, Eden, and gave Adam a place to live. He had replenishable food. God created Eve. Adam had companionship. God put Adam to work. God had him name the animals. He was part of creation. God had Adam to dress and keep the garden. He had dominion over. Adam had purpose. Adam and Eve had a life that was complete. They were in communion with the creator of the universe. They walked in fellowship with him, which is why they were created. Can you feel the love and the safety and the purpose? They had everything they needed until they listened to another voice. They made a choice, a simple choice, and everything changed in that instant. Eve chose the wrong fruit. Sin entered, separation began, longing replaced perfect peace. It all started right there. This is the difference a simple choice can make in somebody's life. Eve made a choice in the garden, a single decision that changed everything. Her choice brought separation, sorrow, and a shift in all creation. But dear sister, here is the hope. We hold Romans 6:18 that says, "Being then made free from sin, ye became the servants of righteousness." So today, through Christ, we have the power to choose again. One woman's decision brought darkness, but today, your decisions can invite light. The choice to follow God's truth can reframe your past, reset your present, and rewrite your future. This is what the Choose to Win journey is all about. Where Eve chose doubt, we can choose truth. Where she listened to the lie, we can stand on the word. Where one woman's decision opened the door to brokenness, your decisions today can open the door to breakthrough. Your choices today are seeds of tomorrow's success. Choose to win. In the beginning, God said, "Light exist," and in the darkness, light obeyed. Same creative power speaks into our lives today, and I believe he wants to speak light into your life right now. That is the beauty of grace, and it's the heart of the Choose to Win coaching experience. You've been given the gift of choice, and when your choices align with God's truth, your future begins to shift for good, for growth, for God's glory, choose clarity, choose consistency, choose to become who you were always meant to be. Now, choose to win is not about perfection. It is about transformation, one faithful decision at a time. I have seen women go from burned out to breakthrough, from drifting to driven, all through the power of one faithful choice. Are you ready to choose well? My Choose to Win coaching experience is based on a book written by my mentor, Tom Ziglar. Yes, the son of legendary Zig Ziglar. Zig's legacy lives on with over 6 million people following their Facebook today. Because let's be honest, people need hope now more than ever. So you understand now that since the fall, we were born with unmet longings for love, for safety, for purpose. All of that was lost from a single choice of the wrong fruit. What they had was gone. But through Christ and with the right plan, we can begin to fill those longings again. And that's why I'm here, to give you more than encouragement. I want to give you a clear path forward. And before we close today, I have a free gift that will help you start strong. Zig Ziglar said, we never want to give a promise without a plan. So here's my promise. You will leave this video inspired and equipped with steps to move forward. You will gain clarity and you will know exactly how to begin. This is one big reason why I love doing what I do, is being able to go out and speak and coach and help women and organizations to untap and unleash their potential. Let me ask you this. How many of you believe you have untapped potential inside of you? Ziglar said, you were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. But the question is, are you living that out? Most of us are not. Not because we're lazy or unwilling, but because we lack clarity, direction, and support. Well, today I want to share with you just a few secrets on how to get there, and then share with you that little gift I was talking about. I love helping women along the path because Choose to Win coaching experience is just a fantastic system to help you unleash the potential inside of you. The basic motivation in the human heart is the quest for satisfaction. Remember, we are born now with longings. We spend our whole life looking for it. Our longings, though, help us to understand what motivates us. It all starts with your why. What is your why? I want you to think about that for a second. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. What is your why? What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What is it that gets you up in the morning and gives you the energy to get through the day? Unfortunately, a lot of women never take the time to figure out their why. That is one of the things I love doing, is helping women discover their why. I want to show you the importance of it with a little simple illustration. A tree's fruitfulness depends on its root fullness. That is a powerful thing there when you think about it. A tree's fruitfulness depends on its root fullness. How are your roots? I want to ask you a question. What's the fruit you want to have in your life? What are your dreams, your goals? Remember when God said light exists? That same creative power still moves today. Light is more than a physical phenomenon. It represents truth, revelation, and transformation. What if God's light could shine into your deepest, darkest voids? Your regrets, your missed opportunities, your silent struggles? Friends, it can. There's probably not a greater fruit on our tree than the fruit of significance, helping others to be, do, and have more than they thought possible. But have you ever thought about where the fruit comes from? You know, what creates the fruit? Well, we said it in the quote. The tree's fruitfulness depends on its root fullness. In Choose to Win, we talk about that every tree has 7 roots. The mental, spiritual, physical, the family, financial, the personal, and the career roots. The way we grow fruits is to nourish those roots. I want us to do a little bit of an assessment on the health of our roots. It's called the Wheel of Life. And we're going to do this very quickly. I'm going to walk through each one of these. This is what I want you to do. When I call out a spoke, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And I will give you a few hints on the way to help you think about each area and come up with that score. Let's start with mental. This is not mental illness or mental disease. This is our attitude, our outlook, our mindset. So mental is really mindset. Do we brighten a room when we enter it or when we leave it? Okay. Are people glad to see us? Are we positively contagious? Do we have a mindset that says, hey, I can overcome this. I can make this happen? Or do we have that negative self-talk in the back of our minds that says, we don't even deserve it or we're not good enough? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Now let's move to physical. Okay, physical. Are you in good physical shape? Would your doctor give you an A+? Have you even had a medical exam in the last year? Are you sleeping enough? Are you having any stress? Is the nutrition, the vitamins, the supplements, the things you are eating, is that giving your life energy and fuel? Are you getting movement and exercise? Do you feel good? Do you have energy? So you could be a 10 out of 10. I mean, you could be a world-class triathlete, stress-free, eating the best, or you might be struggling a little bit. Maybe you need to lose a few pounds. So wherever you are, give yourself a rating between 1 and 10. Next is spiritual, the spiritual spoke. And this is about faith and character and integrity and love and loyalty and all the spiritual qualities that we possess. Are you, when you close your eyes, are you happy with the person that you are? Or do you need more depth there? Do you feel comfortable when you're alone? And you fall asleep and you have peace of mind and you know where you want to go? Rate yourself 1 to 10 there. Let's look at family. What about your family? I mean, is the best time of the day when someone in your family gives you a call? Are you texting with them? Are you spending quiet time with your husband? Do you have ongoing family dinners where you talk about important stuff? Do you have good relationships with everybody? Have you carved that out? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10 there. Next is financial spoke. Oh my goodness. How is your financial spoke on the wheel doing? Are you debt-free? Are you ready for retirement? Can you do what you want, when you want, with who you want? Do you have a budget in place? Are you making progress and where you want to go? Here's a big one. Does every dollar have a name and a place? Is there any financial stress in your life? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Think now about the personal spoke, and this includes self-care. This is what you do to fuel yourself. Do you have energy? Do you feel good? What makes you feel good? Do you have a space reserved for you so that when you invest in yourself, that gives you the energy to do other things that are so important in your life? Rate yourself, scale of 1 to 10. The last spoke then is career. And the career is simply the economic engine. Okay, this is what you do to earn an income. Is your career satisfying? Do you get excited every day when you wake up in the morning? Do you think, man, I get to do this? Or is it have to do this? Does your career have potential? Is it taking you where you want to go? Does it feed your big why in your life? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, now connect the dots. For each of the spokes, You're going to put a dot where you scored yourself. Then you're going to draw a line from dot to dot all the way around the wheel. Connect those dots and then look at how smooth your ride is. Usually when we do this, some women might have a very round wheel, but they're all 2s and 3s. You know what the problem is with that wheel? Although it's round and smooth, you're not really going to get anywhere. You need a big wheel to go where you want to go. Other women will have 3 or 4 8, 9, 10s and 3 or 4 3, 4, 5s. And so that wheel is just kind of not going anywhere. It's just lumpy in places and flat on the side and just doesn't work. So how about you? What does your wheel of life look like? Is it smooth and moving or lopsided and stuck? To go far and fast, we need balance, strength, and strategy. So what is it that we do with this information? Well, let's look at that. We must have the right definition of success. That is really what Choose to Win is. We want to be winning in all 7 of those areas. The physical light that God made on the first day of creation is a magnificent image of what he does in every heart that trusts in Christ. And Ziegler said this: success is the maximum utilization of the abilities that God gave you. When we look at the untapped potential that we have inside of us, the gifts and the talents that God has given us, how are we going to maximize that? What are we doing daily to get the most of it? Your choices today are the seeds of tomorrow's success. Choose to win. Because here's where stress and frustration set in. And that's when we go to Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and we start comparing ourselves, right, to everybody else in the world. That's not what success is. The reality of the creative power of God's voice has significant implications for our lives that go well beyond the creation account. You see, the world light, it's used like a metaphor. It's in the Bible. It's illumination. It's the divine enlightenment of the human heart with truth. It's literally bringing all things, even your deep, dark, void things, into light. Spiritual lighting. It's a creating process that occurs in the human body, soul, and spirit. One of the joys that I have as a coach is I get to understand the gifts and talents that each woman I work with has. And then we put together a plan of action to start maximizing those gifts, those talents, those abilities, so they can raise those numbers from 3, 4, and 5 to all 8, 9, and 10, because that's the reality of what this is about. Now, I want to share with you the fastest way to transform your life, the fastest way really to success. And we now have a good definition of success, right? The fastest way is to replace bad habits with good habits. I want to say that again. The fastest way is to replace bad habits with good habits. I'm going to give you an example. I have a bottle here. This is my water bottle. It's great. It has all the different measurements here. So I know every hour what I'm supposed to drink. And then I can fill it up and do it again. And I have everything that I need for the day. Just to show you the impact of that small choice in your life, nothing contributes to more added sugar in the American woman's diet than sugary beverages, and soda is the primary culprit. And over the last 50 years, consumption of soda has gone up by 500% in the US. The CDC says 63% of US adults drink at least one a day. One, on average, 12-ounce regular soda has 156 calories and a staggering 9 teaspoons of sugar in one can of soda. The American Heart Association says women should limit their daily sugar intake to 6 teaspoons or less. So one regular soda is enough to send you well over what you're supposed to have on your daily limit. And sugary beverages are also tied to dental cavities, kidney, liver, heart disease. It's one of the leading causes of obesity. And ladies, if you drink soda, you're more likely to be bloated and gassy and have heartburn and acid reflux. See, your gut is filled with these types of necessary bacteria that help you thrive when they're in balance. With a high sugar diet, they overgrow and overwhelm the beneficial bacteria. So that imbalanced gut bacteria can lead to colitis and leaky gut. And I can tell you firsthand, that is not nice. So high sugar diets and lower amounts of that helpful bacteria are also tied with poor mental health. High intake sugar also gives rise to inflammation, and that causes you to be more susceptible to chronic diseases. The CDC actually says soda drinkers are more likely to engage in other poor habits like smoking and not sleeping enough and not getting enough exercise and eating a lot of fast food. One study found that it's also tied to anxiety and depression. So you see, a simple choice, cutting out soda, may lead you to alter other lifestyle habits for better total health, physically and mentally. So now why am I telling you all of this and giving you all this information? Because knowledge is power. Knowledge gives you insight. Because knowledge gives you those aha moments. Do you have brain fog? Could be sugar. Do you have bloating? Could be sugar. Do you have inflammation in your body causing all those symptoms you hate? Could be sugar. And I know you've heard all these things before, but the big question is, how do you choose to use your insight? How will you break free from strongholds? Only when you commit to change, make goals, and create a plan will it happen. Now, I know switching up your beverage of choice is not easy, and quitting soda cold turkey is just not really realistic for everyone. Rome was not built in a day, so kick your soda habit slow and steady. That's the key. You can slowly cut back while introducing healthy beverage alternatives into your diet. Keep a refillable water. Keep that bottle with you. Give yourself something else to sip on. Put lemon, lime, cucumber, fresh fruits, mint, flavor your water. That's just one small choice in one area of life. But simple choices like swapping soda for water, that might not seem spiritual, but they are stewardship. 1 Corinthians 6:19 says, "Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you?" Once a preacher said, we would be much better off to pray preventative prayers instead of crisis prayers. And on a TV show, there were doctors and nutritionists that were talking about sugar and all the effects it has that are very harmful. One doctor said, it doesn't matter how much information I give my patients about their diet and their exercise, giving them information doesn't change a thing. The only thing that makes a difference is when they begin to experience pain. That's the only time that real change occurs. What pain points are you experiencing in your life right now? One small habit shift can trigger a whole life transformation. And so as you look into the future, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, who you want to become, and you realize that you have to go through these 7 areas, and we start to focus on the choice, here's the great thing. A good habit is simply a good choice made over and over again. That's what this is about. Ask yourself whether you want to operate based on what you know, your insight, your aha moments, or simply the pain that you feel. Do you not want to wait until you're in constant pain to decide, I need to modify some of my habits in my life? So how do we get the fruit that we want? We look at each of those 7 roots, and we start creating habits in each one of those roots. So here's another question. If we want the fruit of good relationships, which one of those 7 areas should we really work on? If we want the fruit of good relationships, which one of the 7 roots should we nurture and nourish? Well, it's obvious, right? We must nourish them all. How can you have a great relationship if your mental outlook, your attitude, your mindset is not right? Because no one wants to be around us. And then spiritually, if we don't have the right qualities of integrity and character, which create trust, then we're not going to have good relationships either. And physically, if we're so tired and out of shape, we have no capacity to even have a relationship. So what we have to do is say to ourselves, okay, this is what I want. This is the vision that I have for my life. And here's where I am right now. There's where I want to go. And that's what that will assessment did. It gave you a picture, just a quick picture of where you are right now today. And so if we're kind of unhappy with some of the things that are going on in our life right now, we have this dream, how do we get there? We have to close the gap. We have to do the next thing. And how do we get there? Good habits are what nourish the roots. What are the habits we can create? Well, that's what I want to talk about here. I want to give you 3 choices that you can make because success is the fruit of good habits. Number 1 lesson is actually starts off the book, Choose to Win, and it's the anchor of the Choose to Win coaching experience, and that's that you must choose your input. When you choose your input, it changes everything. What you listen to, what you read. And there's a quote in there that says, what you feed your mind determines your appetite. Meaning, what is it that you really want? Who do you want to become? If you feed your mind those things, your appetite will want more of them. Isn't that the way life is? We get up in the morning and we say, don't sit on that couch. Don't eat all that cheesecake. And don't say that to that person. But what do? We sit on the couch all day, we eat all the cheesecake, and we say that thing to that person and we get in a lot of trouble. What if we feed our mind better input? Because what we feed our mind determines our appetite. What we need to tell our mind is, what we need to listen to is, I love kale. Kale is my friend. And every hour I have enough energy to get up away from my desk and walk around. I exercise, I stretch. And when I see that person, I'm not going to tell them those things. I'm going to say how grateful I am for them. See, when we say those kind of things, positive things to ourselves, that changes everything because transformation is a choice. How many of you want to transform? How many of you want to go to the next level? Well, it starts with the input. The second one is you must choose your principles and values. And here's why. Every relationship that you could ever imagine depends on character and integrity. Trust is the byproduct of integrity. I'll keep this one short. Here it is. Can you have a good relationship when there's no trust? Of course not. And so, what are you doing daily to become the person who automatically produces the fruit that you want in your life? See, here's the reality. You have every character quality necessary for success inside you. They are just undeveloped. But you have to recognize, claim, and develop them, and then use them. And here's the challenge. I see it all the time. People will say to someone, hey, you did a fantastic job there. I really appreciate you. You're so kind. You're so generous. Those kinds of things. And the woman will just be like, oh, no, it was nothing. As if, it's a good act of humility to say that. But what you must do is understand that you have those qualities in you. And the more you develop them, the bigger difference it's going to make in your life. But until we even recognize and claim them, we can't develop them. Then we have to use them. So here's the last thing I will cover today. And I would love to be able to tell you more. There are 7 key choices that we go over. We just don't have time for all of that here in this space. You must choose to be persistent and consistent. Consistence means that when there's a worthy goal or objective, you are going to work on it every day or as often as necessary. And persistent means that when you were doing it, you were taking it up a notch. Well, if you've ever read any of Zig Ziglar's books, he would say, hey, you know what? If you don't feel like doing something, do it. Then you will feel like doing it. And the ultimate story of this is the block and a mailbox story. How many of you want to lose some weight? I mean, I'm raising my hand, okay? I still have several pounds to go before I hit my target. Zig Ziglar, the way that he lost weight was really simple. He got all checked out and the doctor said, "You're good to go." They said, "Go jog." So the first day he jogged 1 block and then he walked home. The second day he jogged 1 block and a mailbox. The third day he jogged the block and 2 mailboxes. And we call this the BAM plan, block and a mailbox. And this is a really powerful key to discovering and unleashing the potential that you have inside you. You see, all of us think we can do more than we can do in a short amount of time. And we underestimate the amazing things we can do over a long amount of time, being persistent and consistent. I love to work with women, and I love to do it over a long period of time, because when you start to measure, you start to see the growth. You start to see the change. Then it makes it all worth it. So in review, there are 3 essential choices you must make. Choose your input. What you feed your mind will shape your life. Choose your principles. Integrity builds trust. Trust builds transformation. Choose to be persistent and consistent. Success is the fruit of good habits done faithfully. And Galatians 6:9 tells us, "And let us not be weary in doing well, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." So I'm going to ask you again, what is your why? What is it that drives you? And I want to give you a little illustration, because ultimately when I work with women, there are a couple of things that must be identified. First, look at this balloon. This is the transportation device that is going to take you to where you want to go. Just envision that, okay? It's going to take you to your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. And I actually went on a hot air balloon in Africa. Scary thing. I really didn't want to do it. I did, and it was amazing. Now, the problem is we have to get airborne. And so one of the things that you'll notice is until your balloon has a direction of why, you don't know where to go. So you have to have that. And that's what I do first, is I help women understand their why. Second is, do you see those ropes? Those ropes have that balloon tied down. Do any of you have anything tying your life down? Some bad habits, a mindset, a belief that's keeping you from where you want to go? What I do is teach you how to cut the ropes. And the last thing I want you to look at is that flame. There's a white hot flame in there. Now the trick is we must turn the furnace up. We must release the fuel. And the knob in that balloon says grit on it. And so what I do is ask the right questions to give you clarity, to help you understand exactly the things that you need to work on to raise your balloon while you are cutting the rope. And you must do it all, right? You cannot just have your why. You cannot just cut the rope. And you cannot just work like crazy. I think all of us have worked like crazy, and we're still stuck in a lot of areas. That's what I love about talking with women. And so let's talk about the gift, okay? When I work with women, we always start with a coaching discovery session. And this is a strategy session. It's really simple. It's just to look at that balloon, right? I want to understand, where is it that you want to go? What is your vision for your life? What is your dream? What is it that you would love to accomplish? And just like the ropes, I'm going to ask you, hey, what's holding you back? You know, what is it that is just keeping you from performing? What do you wish was different? How does it feel to know that you don't have the things that you should have? And then we say, okay, what are the steps going to take to get you there? What's the gap that we have to close, and how can I help you do that? And so normally a coaching discovery session like this is a value of about $300. But because you're here listening to me today, I'm offering a coaching discovery session absolutely complimentary. Now, these are about 45 minutes to an hour, and we really go deep on this. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to talk to women who are ready to take that leap, who are ready to unleash the potential that is inside of them. And the greatest thing about Choose to Win is what you can see from that wheel of life. The roots of your life will bear fruit, right? the roots that nourish the fruit. It's in every area of your life. And that's what I want to do, is I want to work with you wherever you are to start nourishing those habits, creating the habits that nourish the root to create the fruit. So I want to thank you for taking this time with me today. As you can see, the difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. So I have a question. Are you going to do it? Are you going to take that step and say, hey, I'm ready to go to the next level? Because ultimately, living life of purpose, on purpose, is a choice. There's no reason to walk in darkness. And in Christ, we will never walk in darkness, but we'll have the light of life. Your choice today are your seeds of tomorrow's success. Choose to win. If today something is stirring in your heart, I invite you to take the next step with me. Let's sit down together one-on-one and walk through your personalized coaching discovery session. It's my free gift to you. No obligation, just transformation. Let's cut the ropes, light the flame, and rise into life that God has designed for you. Because the difference between where you are and where you want to be is what you choose to do. John 8:12 says, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So I say to you, choose to win, choose to rise, choose to shine, and let there be light.